Ayubowan, Vanakkam. I'm Vioni Dimel. This is Boston Lanka News, bringing you news, views, and entertainment from Boston and USA. US taxpayers lost $60 billion due to waste and fraud in Iraq and Afghanistan. Meanwhile, Robert Blake calls for accountability from Sri Lanka. Kushil Gunasekera on a mission in USA, preaching on the values of goodness and kindness. Prageeth Eknaligoda is still missing as the world observes the International Day of the Disappeared. As much as $60 billion in US funds has been lost to waste and fraud in Iraq and Afghanistan over the last 10 years due to poor planning and payoffs to warlords and insurgents, according to the report submitted to the US Congress by the Commission on Wartime Contracting. Much of the waste and fraud could have been avoided with better planning and more aggressive oversight, the Commission said. To avoid repeating the mistakes in Iraq and Afghanistan, government agencies should overhaul the way they award and manage contracts in war zones, the Commission recommended. Meanwhile, the scheduled visit of United States Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs, Robert O. Blake's visit to Sri Lanka had to be postponed due to Hurricane Irene, according to the State Department. Talking to Tamil diaspora groups recently, Secretary Blake had expressed his concern and impatience about reconciliation and accountability in post-war Sri Lanka. Kushil Gunasekera, the founder of the Goodness Foundation, was in Los Angeles a few weeks ago with world-renowned Sri Lankan cricketers Muthaiya Muralidharan, Sanath Jayasuriya and Aravinda De Silva to raise funds for the Foundation of Goodness. Kushil spoke with Boston Lanka about the mission of his foundation and the ongoing work in Sri Lanka. Kushil, I understand that you have a very special focus in North. In other words, you want to replicate in Mankulam what you did in Senigama. Could you please tell us more about that project?
Yeah, actually, we are here in Los Angeles with Murali and Sanath and Arvind also joined. And now, while I'm speaking to you, we are in San Francisco, where Murali and I are attending this function here, like what Chandramohan did in Los Angeles, Suri is doing in San Francisco. So the objective behind this is to try and speedily assist the rebuilding of families in the north, similar to the operation that we had in the south post-tsunami. And it's a sequence of events in the short term, the medium term, and the long term. So main thing is to enhance the quality of life, give them a helping hand to try and speedily kind of attend to rebuilding their lives, and then leading up to our main project, which is what we are campaigning for mostly, is the North Learning Empowerment Institute. That's the basis behind the operation, but it is also more to do with the success we have had in the south. The Foundation of Goodness has been pretty pleased with the way it has progressed down in my ancestral village of Sinigama, and thanks to the icons of the likes of Murali in particular at the very beginning in 1999 when we founded the Foundation of Goodness. He was there along with some of my other friends called Rohani Regulla, Shan Mallasekara and Chamindavas. And in recent times, Kumar Sangakkar has joined the trust as well, and he's been there for the last 2 years. So we've all worked together as a team, and we're very pleased that today, post-tsunami, we've been able to build a rural community model in the south where we have 30 empowerment sectors free of cost, catering to about 25,000 villages in the neighboring communities, as far as about 38 villages. And so it's worked out very well, and we see the success stories in plenty. In the case of the tsunami, we find that the waves of compassion overpowered the waves of destruction, and all came good out of a huge setback. We turned it into a blessing, and we see that bridging the gap between the urban and the rural sector through productive activities is working out very well, and so much talent is out there, bright, smart, very, very skillful and talented young disadvantaged kids and youth who are hungry for success. So we see the same kind of background now emerging in the north, and we need to move fast, working out on reconciliation and peace, and then providing them the kind of background for them to expand on their quality of life to become or make better progress or excel in life. That's our aim.
And now, what do you have to say to critics who may say that this kind of work should be done by the government and not NGOs like yours? In other words, why Sri Lankan diaspora should be supporting NGOs like yours working on rebuilding the lives of people in war-torn areas?
Actually, we can debate this point and say who has to do what, but it is up to us as well to make a difference. The governments also can do so much. Maybe they are building the infrastructure, but it is us. Individuals who can make the difference, and nothing ever great was achieved without taking that one step at a time. And if we all sit back and say why not this way or why that way, at the end of our lives, who knows what is in store for us tomorrow. So we need to make a positive difference right now. So we are going there with the good intention and compassionately, most humanely, to give a helping hand to those who are in distress, and that is what we want to do. To try and help every family and look at kids who can make a fantastic future ahead of them. And I see lots of talent. I've been there so many times now to Mankulam, Kilnochi area. So there is many ways we find that given the opportunity, training, and the facilities, they can actually make better progress. So it's not about who is doing what. It is all about reaching them out, reaching to them, and compassionately, as I said, and via kindness, and that's the only way we can contribute in making a difference. It's not about doing great things, but doing small things with great love.
Kushil, your foundation of goodness is based on values of goodness and kindness. The motto, be good, do good. Could you please explain more about that? Could you also please share with us some success stories through the foundation?
Yeah, actually, going back in time, I came from this village, and my father was able to educate me in Colombo at Ananda College, and then each time I came back to the village, I realized that there are much more smarter, brighter kids than I am. And then because I spoke a little bit of decent English and then played cricket and other sports for a well-known school, I was able to get ahead in life. And the others were teaching me all the subjects, and I realized they're not making the same progress. And I realized what is this problem and the disparity and the lack of opportunity. So I vowed one day that I'll come back to my village and start doing something to make them also try and probably get on the same track to see a better future. And I didn't know how that would come by. I was dreaming of making a difference in my village, but as my destiny had it all written, it came from a very, very tragic setback, the tsunami. I was caught up in the tsunami, lucky to survive, but my ancestral home that I rebuilt in 1999 and gave part of it to the foundation at the time, was submerged in 12 feet of water, escaped on the day. Murali was halfway down as a chief guest. We were running a scholarship program, and the whole village was like completely in debris, ruin and rubble, so the waters went up to 2 kilometers inland, and leave alone rebuilding, doing it back, doing it better than what it was, is now in hindsight, an achievement that we can rejoice over and over again, because we have created so much, avenues, so many avenues for kids to make progress from disadvantaged areas. So it's about being good, doing good, kindly at that, seeing the misery of others and trying to reach out for their betterment is the theme behind the Foundation of Goodness. And we wanted to narrow the gap between the urban and the rural sector as much as we can, because the rural communities need to be empowered, and that's where we are. So we have been successful in developing this model. We want to try and replicate in the north, because we created all these opportunities. I can tell you many waves of success stories, but in a nutshell, if you look at three girls representing Sri Lanka already, in cricket, swimming, and netball, and there is the boy who was orphaned at 12 years, who also played cricket for Sri Lanka schools under 15, now is in the Sri Lanka under 19 World Cup squad and playing for Tamil Union, under 23 side at 17. Plus, we were the two schools that in our village and the next village, they have become volleyball champions island-wide, owing to our training and coaching them. Then I've taken under 15 cricket academy team from the Foundation of Goodness to Malaysia, and on the last 3 occasions that we participated, out of 25 teams, including Southeast Asian countries, we become champions. 2009 we became champions, and 2010 and 11 we become runners-up. So, I mean, there are web designers, there are graphic designers. There's a boy who actually was found from the refugee camp, didn't speak English at 19, didn't have any computer background. Today he's like our chief operating officer at 25, and he speaks very good English. He's a genius on the computer, very proactive, dynamic. So given all these opportunities, they fly. Believe me, I mean, to see them grasp this kind of offers and make their way through, especially teaching English and IT. It's so much happiness to see them. It's something that you can't measure in terms of even the wealth one would have. At the end, greatness is not found in positions, power positions, or wealth, rather in goodness, humility, service, and character. So the levels of happiness we have seeing all these disadvantaged rural kids and youth prosper is something that you can only feel and not explain.
Thank you, Kushil. That was Kushil Gunasekera from Los Angeles. August 30th was the International Day of the Disappeared. Amnesty International and other human rights groups around the world observe this day by demanding many governments in the world to disclose the status of the disappeared and to prosecute those responsible for enforced disappearances. An enforced disappearance occurs when a person is arrested or abducted by the state or agents of the state, who then deny that the person is being held or conceal their whereabouts, placing them outside the protection of the law. One recent example is the journalist Prageeth Eknaligoda, who went missing after work on January 24, 2010. He was working at the Lanka E-News office in Homagama at that time. It was reported that local residents had seen a white van without number plates close to his house around this time.
මම මේ වෙනකොට රාජකීයයට මගේ පැමිණිල්ල ගෙනියලා තියෙනවා. දවස් 500 වෙනුවෙන් මම ජනාධිපති ආර්යාවට ලියලා තියෙනවා. ජනාධිපති ආර්යාවට ලියලා දැන් මාසයක් වෙනවා. ජනාධිපති ආර්යාවගේ උත්තර නැහැ.
As the world remembers all those enforced disappeared people, Boston Lanka calls upon the Sri Lankan government to make public the results of the investigation of the disappearance of Prageeth Eknaligoda and bring to justice those responsible for his disappearance. That concludes our news edition. We meet you again with another news edition of News, Views and Entertainment from Boston and USA. Till then, goodbye.